Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm still here after all these years, after all these tears I shed. I'm still here and I'm walking this earth like I should be. There was days that I didn't know if I would be. Yeah, yeah. Now I stand tall with my feet in the ground and my head in the clouds. 'Cause I'm still here like I should be. Yeah, yeah, like I knew that I could be. Here we go, here we go. I'm still here. I'm here.
Welcome back.
Welcome back. We took a week off.
Oh,
I was on overload last week. Managing life is sometimes hard for me. and um, I've been working on a lot of creation lately again, and again, just trying to live with cancer, work, do life. Not the best at it. Um, well, I guess I'm pretty good at it
yeah,
because I've been here a long
right.
time.
Yeah. The most important part of that,
Yeah.
you're doing all right at.
Yeah, and honestly, again, just every week has been another appointment of some kind. So throwing in those extra things just
Mhm.
makes it really hard for me to be able to get to the normal things. But I do think I'm getting closer to being able to maybe batch some things, get some things scheduled a little bit, and not be creating as much anymore, but actually be talking about some of the things I've created,
Okay.
which is why we're here today.
Okay.
I'm really excited. I have a new guide put out. Of all the guides, this is called Stop the Cancer Spiral. It's the 15-minute reset.
Okay.
This, for me, I think I'm just so in tune with what it felt like in the beginning, right, of all of this. And that just unbelievable fear of and unknowing of everything, your life being thrown completely off kilter.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why I created this guide, was to be able to just hopefully help people interrupt that spiral, just for a few minutes. Because at first, I feel like that's all you can do.
And you're not talking about just at the beginning.
No, because it keeps coming
That's what I
back.
mean. So, what for people who don't know exactly what you're talking about, you haven't. Why don't you tell us what you're talking about? The spiral.
The spiral is that just the overwhelming influx of thoughts that you just can't control when cancer's in the mix.
For the
All
most part, negative thoughts. You're
all of
talking
the
about. Yeah.
negative thoughts,
Right.
the what ifs, the just the overwhelming thoughts that are generated by your own brain, by things other people say, by Googling, all of those kind of things. It's just the uninterrupted, how do I deal, what if of life.
Yeah. I think this can be applied to non-life threatening things too. So I often get in a spiral, not about life threatening things, but about stupid things, probably comparatively. And I think that is probably not uncommon for anybody listening today, whether they're a survivor or not, to maybe find themselves in that spiral of overthinking, putting too much importance on, uh, not handling an anxiety that they might have of your job, of your hobby, of your relationships, of those kind of things. When things aren't smooth, I think some of this stuff can be applicable for more than just survivors.
I totally agree with
Yeah.
that. I think, spiraling is something that we all do. Our brain kind of is trained to do that, right?
It's to keep us safe.
And let's talk a little bit more about that. Keeping us safe is one thing, right?
Yeah.
By providing options, by giving us maybe some different paths, but when it keeps just being a negative thing, it makes it so much worse.
Yeah, I think what most psychologists or psychiatrists, or I'm not sure if I don't want to offend anybody. I don't know the difference between them. But I think what they would say is, we're wired to go through scenarios in our head to think ahead of the worst case scenario so we can maybe try to plan for that not to happen. I think that's in general how we are wired. Just in this case, it's not a positive thing that happens, where in other cases, if we did think of all of the things that could happen, then try to negate the worst things, maybe the outcome isn't so bad in whatever you're talking about. In your job, in your work.
So we're trying to predict what will happen. We're trying to prepare ourselves, and we're trying to protect ourselves. But all of those things are troubling.
Those are great things when we can fix them.
Well, true, but also it depends on what our base of knowledge is prior to that, right?
True.
Because my base of knowledge about cancer there was nothing positive about it, right? So I'm trying to use what I thought I knew about and then put myself in it and go, well, I don't want any of that. I don't want to be sick. I don't want to die. I don't want any of these things. And it's just a terrible place to be.
Absolutely.
So when I've talked about being in the spiral before, but I wanted to really sort of break it down and just kind of go, okay, what are the steps that we can do? What are the ways that we can slow our brain down a little bit and maybe arrive at a different place at the end?
Okay. Just
calming, challenging thoughts, all of those things, it all plays into being able to get through it. And I think initially my thoughts were spinning, I feel like all of the time, unless I was maybe sleeping. And they're probably even while I was sleeping, right? My thoughts were spinning. But by being able to recognize these thoughts, maybe challenge them or, push them, I realized that I could get a moment of peace.
Okay.
And that helped me. Having that moment of peace allowed me to maybe be in my rational brain for a minute, challenge some of those thoughts, and also think about what I could do to help myself.
Okay. So how did you do that?
I think it comes down to...
I think it's kind of like somebody saying to you, oh, why are you in a bad mood? Don't be in a bad mood.
Yeah, right.
I didn't choose to be in a bad mood. I would like to not be, but when you say push those thoughts, that would, I think, be very challenging for me. To forget about it for a short period of time.
Yeah, it's not about pretending that everything's okay.
Right.
It's about regaining kind of access to yourself, tools that you have within yourselves, taking a deep breath, thinking about the opposite statements to those thoughts, or even challenging, are they true, right? I think what happens, especially with a diagnosis like cancer, is that we give so much credit to medical professionals and things kind of get said very matter-of-factly.
They do.
But those things aren't necessarily true, right? Everything that when we're talking about statistics specifically, they are statistics. They're statistics.
That's all they are.
Right. Which I feel like, we continue to talk about this but if you look at a bell curve, people fall on all sides of that curve, right?
Yeah.
This stat is the one of trying to put it right in the middle, the most probable, right? But it doesn't mean that's you, right? So it's really about being able to recognize your thoughts, challenge your thoughts, and then make a way forward with an alternate type of thought.
So you're saying this is a very deliberate thing. This is not a escape. That's something different.
Yeah.
Like go to a comedy show, forget you have cancer for a half an hour because you're laughing so hard. That is different than what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is intentionally doing that. Wow. That's hard for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's something you have to practice, right?
Right.
But it
I
is
never have.
something that you can practice. And it's not, that's why it's called the 15-minute reset. It's not a big, long, you don't have to devote even 15 minutes to it. It is literally wait a second, my brain is doing this crazy thing again. I need to stop it. I need to recognize really what it's telling me. I need to challenge whether or not that's true. And I need to figure out an alternative to tell it instead. Because your brain also will believe things that get said, whether they're true or not, right?
Absolutely, yeah. So can you give us an example of this?
A
thought. One
thought.
of the negative thoughts that were going through your head.
Sure.
Especially, way back then type of thing.
Yeah. Innumerable bone meds. I have bone meds, right? They're everywhere. And then the thought would be, what does that mean? Are they everywhere? Or is that really affecting me right now? And to be able to go through that and go, well, I guess maybe we'll go a different way. Pain, like pain from within my body would be, oh, that's the bone meds, and then the recognition of that is, wait a second, is that truly the bone meds? I don't know that for sure. And then what else maybe did I do today? Or what else? Do normal people have pain? Yes. Or did I work out today? Yes. Being able to kind of say, what I'm feeling is not necessarily completely connected to cancer. It doesn't mean that the cancer is worse or that the cancer is doing something that I don't want it to do.
Cool.
So when we started the podcast, and even years before that, my goal has always been able to help people along their path, right? And being able, I've realized, of course, that not everybody is going to reach out to me. And so we started the podcast going, okay, maybe this is a way that people can listen in to us and get some hope and some inspiration, and maybe they'll feel more seen, all of that kind of stuff as they're living with cancer. But then I'm also realizing that there's just, those moments that are so memorable and so hard to get through that you can't even get to a podcast yet, so it's like, how can I provide some information for people? And that's what I'm doing in these digital guides, these ebooks, right? The 15-minute reset. Here, take this, use it and apply it again and again and again. Build your own kind of thing once your brain is working a little bit. And that's where, I have the Stop the Spiral, the 15-minute reset, but then from there, we also have the 5 to Thrive guides, right? And 5 to Thrive, I feel like we haven't talked about on here recently. 5 to Thrive is the 5 kind of areas that we kind of targeted that we realized really were making the biggest impact to me as I was kind of putting together a plan to live with cancer. Yeah.
These are the action things when and it goes hand in hand with spiraling.
Yes.
There is a 15-minute reset. Then can be followed by an action step.
Yeah. So then it is kind of, the first guide is that really early time, that diagnosis to really starting treatment. Because I just think if you can set some groundwork right then, if you can start going on how can I be involved with this? It doesn't mean that I'm dying. What is my plan? We lay that out, from a mindset, fitness, nutrition, medical, and support, all of those areas.
And specifically, this is what you did. Yeah. And some of it was because of research, and others what you just did naturally. Yeah. It was truly naturally. It was what made sense to you. It was what ended up in looking back in retrospect. It was like, wow, you did, these really make sense now. It didn't, we couldn't have compiled this however many years ago it's been.
Yeah.
Couldn't have compiled it then because you didn't even know what you were doing. But looking back now, we're like, wow, was
Yeah.
that the difference? Was that, it's just, yeah. So,
Yeah, it's all of those things, right? And I do think it, being diagnosed with cancer and living through such a stressful, crazy time was probably one of the first times that I really trusted my intuition.
yeah.
Even though I felt like everybody was telling me to do something else,
Mm-hmm.
was telling me to go enjoy my family, to all of these things that I just was like, this doesn't feel right to me.
Mm-hmm.
And so the intuition piece of this is what kind of built some of those bases. So
Yeah.
yeah. So the whole hope is that people would be able to build their own plan to live with cancer. I can't stop people from getting diagnosed. That's not something for me that feels within reach. But I can try to help people by telling them what has helped me.
Yeah.
And it's not to disregard anything else. I don't care how you build a plan. I really care that you do build a plan and that you believe in it. Those are really the top two most important things for me. So the guides also can take you through every phase of that, both from the diagnosis to treatment, which is now sometimes a month or two of getting it, that spiraling thoughts, the your anxieties at the highest point when you don't have a true treatment plan, all of those things. There's a treatment phase guide, which is for people that are probably not stage 4, but an earlier stage and are going through things like chemo and radiation, all those kind of surgery, all that kind of stuff. And then the third guide is post treatment / maintenance. And that's where I would say that's where some people who are diagnosed metastatic kind of hop to after the first one, right? They kind of
Mm-hmm.
don't do the whole treatment phase in the same way. This is more about trying to combine life and living with cancer. Those two things that are, it's really a challenge, especially when people look at you and think you're fine.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the crux of those guides, but it's just so important to be thinking about what you really are thinking about, which sounds a little crazy.
Yeah. I think in the guides, there's also some action items, like I say again, that
Yeah,
can help with the spiraling, like the meditation and those things. For some people, that might be a necessity when they're spiraling. For
absolutely.
other people, they don't necessarily need to do a meditation or meditate, but they can, like you say, put different thoughts in their head to reverse or to counter what those negative things were.
Mhm.
And other people, I think, honestly, I don't think either of them fits me very well
Yeah,
just because of how my brain works. I think for me, I would need to take truly an action step
yeah,
in that: go work out, go laugh, go be around people in a different conversation. So for me, it is, I think, to some extent an escape. And I get escaping from issues don't, but when we're talking about spiraling, a lot of times it's not realistic anyway. It's not, somebody go, wait, you're thinking about what? No, somebody would have
yeah,
that conversation with you. So I think it's okay to escape some spiraling. And then other things, other situations when you're spiraling could be because of a test result or because of a real thing that's out there, not something your brain is going, well, what if? What?
yeah,
Yes, that happens with the test result, but it can also be, a treatment that, wow, that didn't go well on the first
yeah,
one, and I don't want to do the next one. And those, we spiral for so many different reasons. Some of them I think can be no, get some realism in your head, and some of them can be get the hell away from that in your brain type of thing.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
I think you probably head towards escapism more than I do.
Yeah.
But the other thing I would say with that is that initially you can't even escaping is almost impossible. I can think of
I remember
many
that.
times
Yeah, I
that
remember.
we were trying
Yeah.
to be
Watching
somewhere,
TV.
watching
Yeah.
TV, or we went to a concert,
Yeah.
or whatever. We were trying to escape, but you can't escape your brain.
Mm.
So it is about, how do I calm my brain? How do I push back against the thoughts? How do I do all these things? And I totally agree with you in terms of action steps can make a big difference. I needed those. I needed action steps from like a fitness or a nutrition kind of standpoint to be able to kind of help me back up my rebuttal statement.
Yep.
You know, I needed it. I needed to be able to say,
well, your meditation definitely did that.
yeah,
Your meditation put different thoughts in your head for you to go back to
yes,
in these spiraling times. Absolutely did that. And I think that's what
yeah,
stemmed all of this, to be
yeah.
honest with you, is that was amazing.
Yeah, and I would say with that too, like, I think sometimes people push back and say, well, that's not realistic, or, you know, whatever. But
F you.
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all.
Not at all. Well, it's not realistic that you're still here. Back at you. You know what I mean?
Right.
You weren't supposed to live for a year or two, and it's 26, 27 years later, you're still here. Well, throw all that shit out the window then. You know, you can't do that. Not in that realm. I think it's a recipe for a bad result.
Well, the other thing is that I just would never want to be sitting on the side of, oh, okay, then I'll just plan on dying. That's how
Which is an option.
It is an option. That
Yeah.
it absolutely is. But if that's not what you're looking for, I think there's also an option to look at what else.
Yes.
How else can I think about this?
Yep.
Perceive it. Doesn't mean you have to do 100 things every day. It means having some belief in what you're doing. That's Ivy. Ivy
has big ears. And
Ivy
they flap.
has the biggest ears ever. So believing in what you're doing matters,
Yeah.
I think. But anyway, so I don't know if there's anything else I need to say about that. Okay. We got it. All right. We will be back the next couple weeks. We are heading right into December. Holy smokes.
We still have Thanksgiving and stuff.
Well, Thanksgiving, I love Thanksgiving, don't get me wrong, but it's just the gateway to time going even faster.
Close of football season.
That's right. All right. So the guides will be available. I'll put a link in my notes for the guides, but also you can check them out on Instagram, that kind of thing. As always, the more you guys share both the podcast and everything else, the better it is for us to be able to, have more people find us and be able to be hopeful. And that's what we're looking for. So
they're not real great at that. Neither am I.
I know self-promotion is not exactly anybody's forte.
It's not our forte, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. But we appreciate it when you talk to other people about I'm still here, and it means a lot. So
yep.
All right. We'll see you later. Have a good week.
Yep.
Thanks so much for watching and being a part of our community. It means the world to us. Our goal is always to help as many people as possible live well with cancer. You can help us by subscribing and sharing episodes when you hear of others that could benefit from it. We really appreciate your time spent with us and your commitment to offering hope and inspiration to others.